look at another graphic before we take a break. The value chain distortion from the farm, where we have manual farming, which brings about low productivity. In this, as an instance, you go to the middlemen. Like I said, they are the ones that are making a lot of money because they just do nothing. Now, the middlemen, they put their price at 250 naira per kg. Remember, what the farmers are selling is 100 naira. Okay, now they middlemen say 250. They are making 150 naira from a business that they did not even till the soil or even do anything. They added costs and markups in this particular one. They will say the transport, the loading, the storage, the market fees, all of these, and of course, this definitely will increase prices. And then in the markets, which is the urban market now, you see that price, will increase. The retail price will now increase, which is about almost 400% of the actual price that the farmers, pegged per kilogram, which is 100 naira. Now the retailer is selling for 500 naira per kilogram. So you see the retail markup, higher operating costs. They will tell you they pay for rent, for waste as well, because they cannot consume. People will not consume all of the products as a result of probably the delay from the middlemen and all of that. And then they will have to make profit, just as the middlemen will want to make profit. As a result, they will now peg their price and increase it more. That's like 200% of what they bought from the middlemen. So you can see that is a system challenge, it's a system issue, and it's causing a lot of distortion from the rural transport challenges, where we look at bad roads, high transport costs, like we said earlier on, and of course delays probably as a result of breakdown of the vehicles or insecurity matters. And then to the post-harvest losses, like we highlighted earlier on, poor storage, no cold chain, spoilage and waste, and then this brings about a loss of income. What about the lack of market power? Yes, for the small scale, no bargaining power in this particular one, and we'll take what you get. All right, so this is just the distortion. So the local farmers are not failing. All right, like I said earlier on, that's what they're saying, is they're saying that it is a system around them that is failing. So with imports rising and farmers struggling, who is actually now winning the battle? Remember, that's how we started. We're asking, food imports, local production, who is winning when it comes to food matter? We'll find out when we come back from this break. Stay with us.
Welcome to DERSAG Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At DERSAG Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. DERSAG Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
All right, I'm so loving what we are doing right here, trying to enlighten and educate you on this program, Money and Market. In case you just tuned in, this is Money and Market, and we have been looking at food imports and local farmers. Who is winning? And that's where we are. We want to ask the question, who is winning? This is the verdict part of it. Who wins? Who pays? and what next. Let's look at the winner matrix for you to understand where we are coming from. Let's look at the group and of course outcome from each group. We're looking at the importers, the farmers, the consumers, and then the government angle. Yes, the government angle. We'll look at who is winning and who is not. Now, from the importers, the outcome is short-term gain. All right. For the farmers, like they said, they are struggling. And for the consumers, they are the one that pay more because even if it's the locally produced food, they pay more. You see how we, analyzed how the food items leave the farms, how it gets to the hands of the middleman, and how it gets to the retailers, and how the retailers get these food items to the consumers. And that's why we say the consumers pay more. We took example from that agricultural produce from the farm where about a kilogram of produce was pegged at 100 naira by the farmer. The middleman took it to 250 as a result of some reasons he gave. And then to the retailer, who now increased from 250 naira that he bought from the middleman to 500 naira that he now sells to the consumer. So the consumers pay more. And then the government angle, they are under pressure to see how to encourage local production and try as much. And this imbalance is coming as a result of what the government is doing and not doing. Now, remember, when we allow food is now a dumping site. Let's look at the food imbalance, the graphics to make us understand the scale balance visual. Let's see. You will get to understand that there's imports. You look at the scale now, you see that the local farming, where we have, it's very light on local. We have low investment here. We have limited support coming in from the government, especially, and we have untapped potential. Now, this local farming is supposed to feed the nation. I remember a time where a one-time president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, was a military head of states. I think between 1976 to 1979 or thereabout, where he came about with the Operation Feed the Nation slogan, how it is that he introduced agriculture to the nation. Look, Nigeria is blessed with arable land, like I keep saying, fertile land, so to speak, and we have all it takes to feed this nation without importing food. Yeah, I can tell you that for sure. But insecurity and some other factors of balance. Let's still go back to the scale of balance, because I just talked about the local farming where we see low investment. You know, people don't really invest in agriculture. I don't know why this is, because this is one sector that can fetch in a lot of money, honestly speaking. Now let's look at the imports. You can see, first of all, before I talk about the imports, from this graph, this picture you're seeing on your screen, a local farm, you can see fresh agricultural produce right there, and it is drawing my attention more than the pictures or the food items on the imports angle. I could see fresh food items, and man, I love fresh items. All right, so we go to the imports aspect, where we see processed foods items now, and you could see the imported rice, imported tomatoes, vegetable oil, wheat, frozen chicken that is imported, of course, milk powder. Now, these are capital outflow, and they are capital intensive, no doubt about that. Dependency is high on this particular aspect. Like I said, most of the high class and the middle class, they rely heavily on these ones. And of course, local diets at risk local diets at risk. Now, when we say local diets at risk, more people are going for these processed food than the natural food. Now, the natural food will always give you, you know, will improve your health, so to speak. But we've been told by medical experts that processed foods are not the way to go if you want to keep healthy. But let's leave all that one for the medical experts. We're looking at the food system imbalance. So we see an unbalanced food system in Nigeria. Let's now break it down from the importers aspect. Now, remember, we're asking who is winning. Is it the imported food items, which is the importer? Is it the local farmers who are the producers, the local producers? Or is it the consumers that are winning this particular stance? Let's start from the importers. The importers, like I said, they are short-term winners. They are advantageous, but in the short term, they control the supply chains. Talking about the importers, they meet urban demand, no doubt about that, because the urban demand is massive, and because we import these things, they meet the demand. The benefit from consistent demand for the importers, they benefit from consistent demand. Whatever price they put there, the consumers will always pay, right? What about, so we're analyzing now, we're looking at the winners matrix now. The importers, like I said, their position is that they are short-term winners. All right. For the local farmers, they have limited productivity. By the way, they are under pressure. So structurally, they are weak. Okay, so they have limited productivity as a result of the factors that we pointed out some time ago. You know, they have high risks and low margins for profit. Remember the instance I gave of producing a particular item from the farm for 100 naira per kg, and how it is that the retailer are the ones making a lot of profit, but you know, for the farmers, just low margins, so to speak. So structurally, they are under pressure and they are weak, the farmers, when it comes to the winner matrix. What about the consumers? The consumers are the vulnerable ones here. They pay higher prices regardless of where this product is coming from, whether it is imported food item or locally produced food item. So regardless of where the food is coming from, the consumers, they pay high prices. They also are vulnerable to FX shocks and shortages, you know, where we have you know, narrowed down to the purchasing value or power of the consumer, right? And then they're also vulnerable to shortages. So where there are shortages, especially when it comes to the farmers not meeting the demand of the consumers, they are the ones that spend a whole lot of money. They are the ones that face a lot of shocks economically and otherwise. What about the government? The government are caught in between balancing food security. The farmers, they're not making enough. Like I said earlier on, they are barely surviving. Importers, short-term advantage, farmers structurally weak, and all of that. But what about the cost of dependence? Let's look at the cost of dependence. You look at the rising pressures, falling self-reliance, and of course, greater vulnerability in the cost of dependence here. We'll look at the FX pressure, the food inflation, local production, and of course, import reliance. Now, the vis-a-vis, let's look at food FX pressure. The FX pressure is going up. Okay, this is a multi-metric dashboard, by the way. I know some of you are getting it like, what is Fred doing today? I thought he said this is a program that is for even the market people. Yes, that's why I'm explaining the graphs that you're seeing on your screen right now. For FX pressure, which is the foreign exchange, we are saying that as against the same period for maybe 2025, we see the FX pressure going up with about 28.6%. Yes, the local currency has weakened, is going up. Because the local currency is weakened, the foreign exchange will definitely be higher. All right, so let's go to food inflation. We've talked about this one before. As the same period as the FX pressure, the food inflation was pegged at about 19.7%. So food prices continue to rise, no doubt, putting pressure on household budgets and living standards. Then definitely it translates into consumers or the households are spending more of their income on getting food in. All right, what about local production? Because we've looked at the FX pressure, we look at foreign exchange, we looked at food inflation, we see that they are on the rise, they are moving up. What about the local production? Now, this for the same period, we are seeing that it's estimated at about a loss of 14.3%. So it's declining by that 14.3%, reducing supply, that is not meeting the demand of the consumers, and of course bringing about reduction in jobs and economic resilience. Now, what about import reliance? You see where we are, what we're talking about? For local production, because it's not meeting the demand, and look at how it's declining by 14.3%. But for import reliance, or the imported food, look at it, increase of 22.8%. And now, this goes to show that we rely more on imports to our food needs, and of course, this increases vulnerability to external shocks. So you could see that the only feature here leading to lower living standards, like I said, do we really have a living standard? It leads to greater vulnerability, which translates into weaker future. All right, so what's the way forward? I mean, now that we've known who the losers are, now that we know that we import more food, we consume more of imported food than the locally produced food, how do we, balance this scale? One, invest in storage and logistics. Invest in storage and logistics. Remember when we talked about how the goods are moved from one place to the other? We saw how some foods, of course, when we talked about wastes, we saw that one of the reasons why we're having that waste is as a result of poor storage and logistics. So we have to invest and improve in our storage capacity and in our logistics. And another thing that we can work on is to secure farming regions. Now, this is on the insecurity aspect. The government has a lot of work to do on this particular one. We have to ensure that our farms are safe for farming, for cultivation. Now, we're also, when we say we're looking forward to making things happen, we'll also look at to scale our mechanization. We cannot be doing traditional farming if we want to feed the nation, or if we want to meet the demand of the populace. And of course, another factor to take in is to adopt targeted import strategy, not blanket bans, not banning products and all of that. No, we have to target import strategy and of course adopt those strategy. Finally, on my final note here, because I'm fast spent on the program, food imports may keep markets stocked today, the imported food, but without strong local production, Nigeria risks, feeding its own people at the mercy of the global market. So once the global market shuts, for instance, then definitely we might have a lot of things to think about, how we want to readjust in consuming our local products produce is going to be very, very challenging. So I end by saying food security is economic security. All right. So that does it for the program today. We looked on food imports against farmers' produce. We said who is winning. We know who won on this particular topic. All right. Before I leave, I just want to say that you can actually watch us on the go via our app, which is available via the Google Play Store. Yeah, you can actually download, search on Google Play Store, and you will get TVM Express, TVM app on that particular Google Play Store. And you can also reach us or follow us, or you can contact us via any of our social or digital platforms on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, TikTok, and of course on X, which is formerly Twitter. You can also reach out to us via the numbers on your screen via WhatsApp, or you can call in to tell us how you feel about our programs, and of course where you are watching us from. I'd like to say thank you for being part of the show. I remain yours sincerely, Fred O'Neill. I'll see you again for another interesting topic to discuss on. Bye for now.
Welcome to DERSAG Engineering and Services Limited. We hold several specialized permits with the Department of Petroleum Resources, are accredited with service and product codes by NIPEX, certified by Dun & Bradstreet, and proudly ISO 9001:2015 certified. Our areas of expertise cut across critical sectors, including manpower sourcing and supply, engineering services, construction and fabrication works, specialized procurement and supply, operations and maintenance services, and integrated marine services, delivering supply boats, crew boats, tugboats, barges, houseboats, and speed boats. At DERSAG Engineering, we are committed to quality, safety, and timely delivery, ensuring that every project meets and exceeds expectations. DERSAG Engineering and Services Limited, your trusted partner in delivering world-class engineering and energy solutions.
If democracy had an engine room, the National Assembly would be right at the center of it. From lawmaking to keeping government powers in check, this arm of government plays a crucial role in how Nigeria is run. But what exactly does the National Assembly do, and why does it matter to us as everyday Nigerians? Let's break it down.
The National Assembly is Nigeria's federal legislature, established under the 1999 Constitution. It is responsible for making laws for the entire country and represents the Nigerian people at the national level. Nigeria operates a bicameral legislature, meaning the National Assembly has two chambers. The first is the Senate, which consists of 109 members. Each of Nigeria's 36 states elects 3 senators, while the Federal Capital Territory elects 1. The second chamber is the House of Representatives, made up of 360 members elected from federal constituencies across the country, based largely on population. Together, these two chambers ensure that both population size and geographical spread are run-making. While the House of Representatives reflects population distribution, the Senate ensures equal representation of each state. This structure prevents dominance by more populous regions and encourages broader national consensus before the National Assembly is lawmaking. A proposed law, known as a bill, can be introduced by a lawmaker or forwarded by the executive arm of government. Each bill goes through a structured and takes place, and the third reading, where final approval is sought. Public hearings may be held, allowing experts, civil society groups, and citizens to contribute to the process. Once passed by both chambers, the bill is sent to the president for assessment. If the president refuses to sign, The Constitution allows the National Assembly to override that decision with a 2/3 majority, reinforcing legislature's independence. But the work of the National Assembly doesn't stop at lawmaking. One of its most critical responsibilities is oversight. This means monitoring how government ministries, departments, and agencies carry out their duties. Through committee hearings, investigations, and some abuse of power. One of the most influential powers of the National Assembly lies in the nation's finances. Each year, the President's amendments. No government can legally occur without the approval of the National Assembly. The legislature also approves external and domestic loans, monitors government borrowing, and ensures that the public funds are spent according to approved budgets. This authority gives the National Assembly significant influence over Nigeria's economic priorities and development plans. Members of the National Assembly are elected to speak for the people. Lawmakers represent specific constituencies and senatorial districts. They raise motions, sponsor bills, and advocate for projects that reflect the needs of their communities. Ideally, this ensures national policies consider the realities on ground, from infrastructure and education to security and healthcare. Through this representative role, citizens' concerns are meant to reach the federal level. The National Assembly also serves as a guardian of the Constitution. It has the power to amend the Constitution, approve key appointments such as ministers and ambassadors, and confirm judicial nominees. In extreme cases, the National help maintain balance among Nigeria's three arms of government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. Despite its importance, the National Assembly faces criticism. Issues such as low public trust, concerns over transparency, and debates around remuneration have shaped public perception. However, the effectiveness of the National Assembly often reflects broader democratic challenges, including voter participation, accountability, and civic engagement. Strengthening the legislature ultimately requires active citizen involvement and sustained democratic pressure.
In simple terms, the National Assembly makes laws, checks government powers, controls public spending. Understanding how it works helps citizens know where power lies and how to demand for better governance. Alright guys, that is all on this episode of Explained. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms. Follow, like, and share, and we'll see you next time.
This is TVM. TVM delivers breaking stories, global headlines, and the moments that matter. From exciting sports action to exclusive local events, we keep you connected. Celebrate our culture, people, and voices with powerful documentaries and inspiring stories. Experience premium entertainment, from trending music to urban lifestyle and beyond. Grow your spirit with life-changing messages and uplifting perspectives. Lead the way with bold conversations, fresh ideas, and thought-provoking shows. Wherever you are, whenever you want, watch TVM on all your devices. TVM, your world, your network.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on 700 Club Nigeria. I am Angel Simon.
And I'm Modupe. Welcome, and thank you for always keeping a date with us.
Let me ask you a question, Modupe. Do you believe in miracles?
Oh yes, you can't believe in God and not believe in miracles.
You always know the way to put it. That is so accurate.
I believe in God and I believe in miracles.
Amazing, amazing. I believe in miracles too. Anyway, gospel artist Moses Ephraim and his lovely wife waited eagerly to hear the sound of children fill their home. And just when it looked like their waiting was about to end, something unexpected happened. Find out.
Moses Ephraim is a gospel artist, a Nollywood actor, and a public figure. For Moses, nothing meant more to him than the thought of becoming a father. So when he got married to Emma in 2009, the expectations were obvious.
I was having a picture of, having my children around the table and being at the center of the table and just have a good time.
But it wasn't until 5 years into the marriage that this dream began to look like a reality.
She eventually took in. It was a miracle. I was super excited. I used to visualize what my kids were gonna look like. So went for antenatal, and along the line we also went for scan, and they asked, "Are you guys expecting twins?" And we looked at each other like, "Okay, what are you talking about?" And I asked the lady, "Are you seeing twins there?" She said, "Yes, yeah, it's twins." Then we were really excited. With time, we got to know it was a boy and a girl.
Moses and Emma began to prepare for their babies with excitement. But during the second trimester, something happened that threatened to steal their joy.
I was on a movie set, and she called me and said our water broke, and we did not expect that to happen as at that time. So immediately I went to meet her at the hospital. They put her on bed rest. 24 hours later, she had the first baby, the baby girl.
Moses' daughter was born at 24 weeks. But a few days later, while they awaited the arrival of the twin boy, she passed on. The emotional stress threatened the life of his wife and his unborn son, and so the doctors conducted an emergency section to bring him out at 26 weeks.
They said, "Oh, this is very risky. We cannot guarantee you that you are going to walk out of this hospital with your baby, but we're going to do our best." And I said, "Well, I believe the God that I serve, that I'm going to walk out of here with my baby. I have lost one. I cannot lose this one." My son was in the incubator for 3 months. Every time we'll come sit down, watch him breathe from the machine, I will always go pray. Sometimes I will lay my hands. Nervous. Is he going to crawl? Is he going to sit? Because there were delays and things like that. I just kept believing in God, that if God kept him this long, God is faithful enough to keep him and he will survive, through it all. Before we knew what happened, he started crawling. We started standing, and before you know what, he was just like a normal baby. For every point we thought in our lives, will he ever attain that level? Today, my son plays the drums. God truly answers prayers. I've seen him in action, and I believe that he is indeed a faithful God.
God of miracle, you are powerful. Nations bow to you. God of great I am. God of miracle.
Amazing. Do you know that I identify with him in the sense that I waited for this number of years also before we had our first child.
Wow.
And there is something that happened to us while we were expectant. We had more value because we began to see that God giving us a child is a statement of trust. And the best way you can deal with the statement of trust that God gives you is to take that project back to him. And you saw that he didn't give up. He put his hand on that child and kept on praying and speaking. The value had gone up, given the fact that they asked the Lord and they waited for it. So he paid attention, gave all of his best. We need to let God know that we will handle his commitment, his statement of trust properly.
In the same situation, literally came to be 6 weeks, 6 months old, and he was good from here to here. And I went to pray. The Holy Spirit reminded me, he has the breath of God in him. He breathes his way life, and every man just breathes his way life. In May of this year, he will be 10 years old. When it starts a